Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Johnny and today I want to just give us something a bit practical today, and that is to notice that when we do get lost in thoughts, lost in the chaos of the mind, particularly when we're either stressed or we feel hurt or someone has rubbed us up the wrong way, and it's like our world shrinks and we get clouded by lots of thoughts, lots of philosophizing, scenario creating, worry, thoughts, all this stuff, and it's almost like our world just shrinks and we're just in our heads, in the storm of the mind. It's like a big ocean that's crashing and everything's so and that's just to remind ourselves that the thoughts that are arising, first thing is, are they true? Are they based on reality? Because thoughts are just stories and we give them so much reality, but notice a lot of the things you worry about and think that will happen don't usually happen. Life's so unpredictable. It's rare that you'll predict things as they happen with your mind. And that we do it a lot. We worry about things that don't happen. We stress about things that aren't going to happen. And it's a waste of time and energy overall. Our mind, we waste so much time thinking and stressing and worrying. And another point is, when we are worrying about something that may happen, it's either going to happen or it's not. And either way, you've stressed about it. So one, you've created two problems. You've stressed about it and it's happened. Or two, you stress about it and it doesn't happen and you've caused yourself stress for no reason. And the mind's so good at enchanting us. It constantly enchants us. We are always drawn into the mind and its power. And it's important to remind yourself who is thinking these thoughts, who is aware of these thoughts. And that just cuts through the bullshit straight away. Who is aware of these thoughts? Oh, there seems to be an awareness that is aware of these thoughts. Next question, is this awareness bothered by these thoughts? Does this awareness have a problem with these thoughts? Most of the time. It won't ever, because it's awareness, it's just aware. And it always has been. And I don't know what it is that happens, but it feels like that attention is being stolen by the mind, and we focus on it and we create all these problems. And when we just rest our attention back into attention itself, boundless awareness, that's when we just stop. Because the best thing to always do is just be here now, be present, sit in silence and surrender to the present moment. It's always the best thing to do. Always yields either one, if you are able to, the right things seem to come. You seem to be more tapped into your intuition when you're present. So I guess the point of this video is to watch yourself and notice how caught up you get with the mind, and train yourself to bring yourself out of that. Because we spend so much time in our heads, and it's really undoing a lot of work we do. Now another good trick when we are caught in the head, it's just to tell yourself, not me. This is not me. Not me. These thoughts are not me. They're just thoughts, stories. Stop. We need to stop feeding them energy, because you can get stuck in hectic thoughts for ages. Like, thoughts, being stuck in the mind's dangerous. It's important to always remind ourselves we are not the mind and not get caught up. Otherwise, we just can end up suffering for a while. And then when we shake out of it, we're like, wow, what was that even about? And when we rest in presence and be aware of the thoughts, sometimes we may be curious to why are these thoughts, especially if you're noticing, if you are resting in presence and there is a repetitive pattern of certain thoughts that arise. Maybe we might find out that we're quite insecure deep down, or we're stress heads and we don't realize it. So so as well as it just reducing the suffering, being present with everything, not identifying with thoughts, it can also help us have insights into why certain thoughts are arising. And practice this constantly. This is practice. This is meditation in action. You should be practicing this 24/7. I'm not opposed to having thoughts. Like, if you're working, you need to think about what you're doing. Totally valid to have thoughts about what you're doing. This is not about stopping thinking. This is stopping getting enchanted by thinking about things that don't really matter. Like, if you're figuring something out at work, that's what the mind's for, to help us figure things out in life, put 2 and 2 together. But when you're working and you're thinking about, oh, this person said this to me the other day and that didn't sit quite right with me, maybe I should, you know what I mean? And we just start thinking and create these big stories about people, and it's just a waste of time. I think notice yourself, because when you're doing that, you'll notice, one, you'll just be suffering. You'll notice a tension in the body when you're doing it, or in the head, and you won't be so at peace or in flow, and you'll be a bit distracted. And notice when you're in those states, and get into the habit of pulling yourself out of them. And if you do it enough, eventually it just becomes automatic. You don't need to constantly pull yourself out. You just are presence constantly. Even thinking too much about spirituality and philosophizing and thinking, it's all a waste of time. We really, after a while on our path, just have to just surrender and just rest in the now, completely, utterly. Just be in the now. That's the only sort of thing you got to do, and surrender. Because there's a point where you've heard all the lingo, all the sayings, you've read all the books, and practice has to be just in motion in everyday life, learning to pull ourselves out of states ground ourselves into the present, which is always the case. But to see that it's always the case, you have to pull yourself in, because the mind is used to that not being the case and still believes that not to be the case. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.